Well, next night, the campaign to raise awareness about the dangers of old second-hand tyres and the extraordinary courage of a young man who finished the London Marathon even though doctors had told him he would never walk again. Zach Washington Young was quite rightly cheered when he crossed that finish line. It was an incredible achievement after he was critically injured in a coach crash which killed 3 people, including his friend Michael Malloy.
Yeah, he's now helping Michael's mum, Frances, raise awareness of the dangers of old second-hand tyres, and they want a change in the law. We'll hear from both of them after this report from Andy Bonner.
The front left tyre just totally out of the blue, just the biggest explosion that I've ever heard.
Lives changed in an instant.
There's a big bang, obviously, where we've hit the tree, and I can't remember anything after that.
3 people died when a coach crashed on the way home from a music festival in 2012. Amongst them, promising 18-year-old guitarist Michael Malloy. Zach Washington Young was sitting next to him and was thrown through the windscreen, breaking his back.
I was just screaming the words no repeatedly. No, 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 no.
A coroner ruled a blown second-hand tyre was to blame. Nearly 20 years old, it had been fitted just months before, yet it wasn't illegal. It prompted Zach to help Michael's mum campaign for a change in the law.
I can't get Michael back, but I could never sit back and let this happen to another family.
The Tired campaign has taken Michael's mother to London to lobby ministers. The government says it has taken steps to manage tyres on public service vehicles and initiated research, and it won't rule out extra measures. But Frances Malloy still fears the worst.
This will happen again. It's too important to sit back and do nothing.
Doctors told Zach he would never walk again, but years of physiotherapy and rehabilitation are now paying off, and he's proving he's not going to be another victim of this tragedy. Andy Bonner, ITV News, Liverpool.
Now then, 20 years ago, we filmed with Zach. Here he is, a boy with great skills and big dreams who at the age of 7 was told he was too young to play in a team. Well, all these years later, he was still determined to cross the finish line of the London Marathon, obviously with a ball at his feet.
Well, earlier, Zach and Michael's mum, Frances, joined us in the studio. So how had it felt for him to cross that finish line?
Well, it was super euphoric, to be honest with you. It was just under 12 hours worth of hard work in the bag too, so if anything it was a little bit of a relief by the time I sat down at the end.
And what about that consultant who told you 6 years ago that he'd eat his tie if you walked again?
It's a scientific kind of exception, I guess, that if you suffer a severance of the spinal cord, then forget about recovering. So, I mean, initially all we wanted to do was gain some movement back in the legs.
So tell us about that recovery process.
Every time that we go to meet a new private physio, they'd ask me, you know, okay, Zach, what's your goal? And I'd say, well, first and foremost, I'd like to get out of this wheelchair. And I'd just be laughed at and patronised and told to be realistic, you know. So, I mean, that was a really tough one to swallow for me, I guess. And it took a hell of a lot to then find the strength within to kind of fight back.
Incredible. When we saw the picture of you at the finish line and you got a football over, because football has been a very much part of your life, hasn't it, from the early days?
Exactly. So I was just trying to think of a way to spice it up, I guess, at the end, and you know, I wanted to go out with a bang. Good.
Frances, what about you? You must be, I guess, very impressed by what this young man has done, but also it kind of maybe reminds you a bit of what you're missing in some ways.
I remember the first time Zach actually walked into my house, and that was a massive, massive moment for me. But yeah, clearly, you know, we just, all of us wish Michael was here. I mean, you know, that's all. Zach played Michael's music the whole time he was walking around.
What about the campaign, Frances? How is it going at the moment? This whole idea that tyres older than Michael are still on coaches around the country.
We've attempted now 4 times to get a second reading into Parliament, and on Friday it was objected to again, so we actually didn't get through it. We've put it down again for June.
And this is even though the coach industry support you, you've got massive support.
We have. I mean, the support has been tremendous. I don't think I've met a single person ever who hasn't said, you know, this should be legislation.
As a mum who's lost her son, how do you feel about there being tyres of this age still out on the road?
It absolutely scares me to death, I'll be really honest, because, you know, I absolutely hope that this never happens again. You know, clearly that is the whole reason I'm doing this. I have absolutely nothing to gain from this whatsoever, other than I wish somebody had done it for me.
All right. Francis and also Zach, thank you both very much for coming in today. Thank you, and best of luck in the campaign too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.